Today is July 12th, 2018, 9 p.m. Today around 5:30 p.m. I went to the city council meeting. However, it was canceled due to no quorum, which means there were not enough council members present in order for the meeting to be held. Mr. Andrew Sims requested by email to Miss Yvonne Lewis that the mayor place on the agenda the budget. They wanted to basically open the discussion of the budget. Miss Gloria Hayden and Mr. Tommy Watson, both outgoing council members, stressed last council meeting that they were a little concerned about the fact that the new council members were not going to be able to vote on the budget, and they were the ones who were going to have to answer to constituents, and two, that the budget was not itemized. In the words of Miss Gloria Hayden, it was just a spreadsheet. I didn't get my hands on the budget. I did, however, get a chance to just glance it, and I did see that it was a spreadsheet. There were several things that I felt are necessary for us as citizens to know. One, let me just give you a little background about me. I have my master's of arts in English literature from University of Louisiana at Monroe. I have my bachelor's of arts in mass communications, broadcast journalism from Alcorn State University. I wrote an article about last council meeting, and I placed it on the Tallulah Let's Talk page. So if you haven't had a chance to read it, go check it out. And it was basically just addressing the issues of what Miss Gloria Hayden and Mr. Tommy Watson spoke on. One thing that I felt we needed to bring out last council meeting, and several of us are calling Mayor Branch the CEO. Mayor Branch called himself last council meeting the CEO of the town. Just so that you know, a CEO is a high-ranking executive in a company. An executive is a businessman. However, he is not an elected official. He's a hired man, okay? The definition of a mayor is a head of a municipality, a city, okay? So his job is not to make the city money or be concerned about the city's financial situation other than how it will benefit the city, okay? So calling him a CEO, that's misleading. It's misinformative. I didn't put it in my article, even though he said it last council meeting, because I felt like that it would take away from the idea of the budget, and that it was not itemized, and that it was not presented for the new board to vote on. Some things that I wanted to point out is we're living in the era of President Trump, where a lot of our elected officials are taking on an air of basically, this is just how it is. This is how we're going to do it. And everybody needs to get on board. I would suggest that everybody remember that this is a government for the people, by the people. The people elect officials. Mayor Branch was elected, which means that a large portion of the population who votes, because there is a large portion of the population that does not vote, but the population that did vote voted for him. Now, there is some rumors out there that's saying that Miss Gloria Hayden may have won the count on some Hillary stuff. I don't know. But that is not something that's founded. I'm just putting it out there for information's purposes. And I feel that we in Tallulah need to start a watchdog agency. That is basically an agency that is basically in charge of making sure the government officials, elected officials, are taking care of the needs of the people, that it continues to function for the people. It's not something that makes you a whole lot of money, and many of us are watching out for us anyway. It's basically people coming together to lobby Congress, to develop a rapport with the Capitol, not just here in Tallulah, and to basically go back and forth as mediators for the people between politicians and the needs. Another thing I wanted to bring out is everybody needs to go and look up Henry David Thoreau and his essay on civil disobedience. It's a really good essay, and I wrote some information down in case you guys don't want to go look it up. I looked up some information for you. One thing that he says is that this American government, what is it but a tradition, though a recent one, endeavoring to transmit itself unimpaired to posterity, but each instant losing some of its integrity. In other words, we're not a perfect government. The people can never get comfortable with the government. I know a lot of us know our elected officials. You may feel comfortable with them. You may not want to disrupt personal relationships, but you have to understand a person is not your friend if they sabotage that friendship in order to gain some type of domination over you. If they want you to be their friend in order for them to get away with things that are not enhancing your life and benefiting you, they were never your friend. Okay, you're a part of their network. And that's something that in Louisiana and in Tallulah specifically, we don't use that word enough. They network with you. They can get things done with you. You're a part of their circle or group of people in order to execute goals and accomplishments. But that does not make you a friend. They may feed you. They may buy you drinks. But all of that stuff is tax deductible. As if you are friends with an elected official and you all are hobnobbing for votes, it's really on the city. Okay. And that's another thing. We have to look at, I'm a former English teacher. We have to look at the contract or the laws that govern what the mayor here can do and what he can't do, what the ordinances say he can do and can't do. We cannot just go on opinion alone. We have to take time to find this information out. Once we find it out, we need to spread it around. Once we spread it around, those of us who feel close to the mayor need to go and talk and have private conversations with him in hopes of helping him to make a better decision for Tallulah. Now, in the video I saw the mayor kind of, ain't gonna be no salary reduction. He said a lot of things that made sense prior to that. However, that line alone eliminated the relevance of what came before that. Image is everything, Mr. Mayor. You cannot say I'm helping do this, I'm helping do that. Then after say that ain't gonna be, because what people hear now is you telling them as an elected official what you aren't going to do. I think all of this is no coincidence to the meeting being canceled tonight. The newly elected officials are under a lot of pressure from us. We are asking for them to, not sever their ties to the people to become in a position of comfort with those who've already been established in politics here in Louisiana and in Tallulah. We have to look at this from the dictatorship versus democracy. In a dictatorship, we have a leader who's basically the person that's in governing. Kim Jong-un in North Korea is a dictator. His people during his father's funeral mourned so grievously, and we later learned that he's basically put out an order saying that the people had better mourn his father or else. If you don't believe me, you can go look up the videos of his father's funeral and how dramatic everyone was. It was almost, God forgive me, comical. And it was because he told them if they did not mourn his father how he felt his father needed to be mourned, they would be punished. It's almost like people are wanting us to live in a time of where we're just bound and beholden by certain things. Now, I believe this is why there was a separation of church and state. My mother and I had a big argument about this weekend. I mean, well, not this weekend, but this past, last night, because she is a pastor. And as a citizen and a Christian, I told her I see why the government separated church and state. A lot of today is being about word and shield and sword, but no action. And then guilt tripping us because you're able to stand in a pulpit and give the word. And I've been big on telling people don't put his pastorship in it. A lot of it, though, is him intermingling his political life with his pastoral life. So he's intertwining it himself. That in and of itself is not governmental. You're not supposed to put the church and the state on one accord, even if you are a pastor. Okay. Another thing that I felt was necessary to bring up is that out of civil disobedience, Henry David Thoreau, he called the government a wooden gun to the people. And everyone knows that a wooden gun is not usable. Okay. So in other words, he's saying that to say that there is a government for the people, by the people, and this man wrote this back in the 1800s. Okay. If you don't believe me, look it up. This is old information. It is so relevant to today. Today in Tallulah, we have issues with our sewage, our infrastructure, and a lot of the information we're finding is not favorable to the people that have been in positions of authority in the town, not just the mayor. He's only been here 4 years. I think a lot of the pressures of people expecting so much out of him has caused him to create a distance between him and the people where he wants to exert power. But I would humbly suggest to the mayor to reach out to your people, not just the constituents who voted for you. I notice he tags about 20 to 30 constituents in his posts when he posts them. I would suggest you cut that out, Mr. Mayor. It's not my job to tell you what to do, but as a person who has been trained in public relations and image consulting, I can tell you that it looks as if you are creating a clique or a crew of people that you roll with. You know what I mean? For that to look corny, because it is kind of corny for a pastor and a mayor to consistently tag specific people as if he needs this for backup. If you're there for everyone, you have to make sure that everyone feels comfortable. Now, the people that you tag, I have no personal issues with. I have no personal issues with you as the mayor. I do, however, feel that if someone does have a personal issue with them, that further lengthens and widens the gap of them being able to reach out to you and say, Mr. Mayor, I need help with this. Mr. Mayor, I'm concerned about this. Mr. Mayor, can you help with this? So this is the information that I have collected and compiled, and hopefully, along with the opinion that you have, it will assist you all in making some better decisions for our town, myself included. I'm up for discussion. Some things that I would like to discuss is, what do we feel other than the budget are some issues that are affecting our city? What is the fear of the budget not being accurately prioritized? Like, what is the worst case scenario if we don't budget correctly? What do we expect from our newly elected officials? And while our mayor is in office, how do we kind of ease this callous that is starting to come over us towards one another when it comes to city versus mayor? Because that's got to be bridged. It's got to be bridged.